the question yesterday. Then to compute your growth rate. Yeah. What are you getting? Someone has said no. What do you have? So that maybe we compare. Yeah, people are saying it is 6.96. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so someone said no, give us your figure so that we could assess. Someone else got 4.91. I gave you an alternative way of how to get the same, isn't it? Yeah, I also say that that same figure will be given by 3.5 divided by 2.5. The rest the power of 1/5 divided by 1. Like that. I gave you that option. So can you try this option and see what you will also be able to get from that point? So confirm that second one and see whether it is giving you the same figure. Those who said no and maybe you got 4.91, what figure are you getting now from that computation? Anyone to let me know? Is it now okay for those who are getting different figure from 6.96? So that value, it is 6.96. So what do you do? If you are using that second formula, you simply come up with that figure of 3.5 divided by 3.2. So 3.5 divided by 2.5. Then you raise to the power of, you open the brackets, 1 divided by 5, you close the brackets. You should be able to get that figure. So that should be now how to get our G. Once we have the constant growth rate, we can now compute the cost of the ordinary share, the cost for the retained earnings in that order. So let us now see how to get the cost for the retained earnings. The cost for the retained earnings. The first one should be cost of the retained earnings. Cost of the retained earnings. So when it comes to the cost of the retained earnings, it is the same as KR. So KR is supposed to be given by DO, 1 plus G, divided by PO, then we add G, like that. Then in our class yesterday, we said that DO is the last dividend that was paid. So that should be now the dividend in the year 2015. So our DO will be the dividend in the year 2015. So I hope we all agree on that. Yesterday we said DO is the last dividend that was paid. So that figure is meant to be. So it will be 3.5. It is going to be 3.5. Then 1 plus G. G is the constant growth rate, which we have calculated. We said it is 6.96. Yeah, which is the same as 0. You go. So PO is the current market price per share, which was provided to you in the note number, in that note number 2. You see the note 2, market price per ordinary share on 1st of January 2016 was how much? 25.60. So it is ex-dividend. But if they say come dividend, you subtract dividend on that figure. So that value is 25.6. It is made to be 25.60. So you also add that portion of 0.0696 like that. Then express it as a percentage. Already when we subtract dividend, the share is selling. But when they say come dividend, they have not subtracted dividend from that figure. So you subtract the dividend for that year. What are you 3.5 from the top? The share must be X dividend. That means they have already paid the dividends. So if they say come dividend, it means the price includes dividend. So you subtract the dividend to get X dividend. Sorry, 21.58. So when you express it as a percentage, you'll come up with 21.58. So that is now the cost of the retained earnings. The next one should be the cost of the ordinary share. The next one is meant to be cost of the ordinary share. The next one is meant to be the cost for the ordinary share. So cost for the ordinary share is KE. So KE should be given by DO 1 plus G divided by PO. But remember this time we factor in the flotation cost. Then we also add G at that point. So this one is still 2015. We say that cost of the retained earnings and the ordinary share are the same, but for the ordinary share, there's an element of what? The flotation cost. We just repeat what we have up there as 3.61 plus 0.0696. We divide by PO, which is 25.60. Then you subtract the flotation cost. So the question had given you a flotation cost. So are you able to see the flotation cost somewhere in graph number 3? Issue of the new ordinary shares will attract a flotation cost of how much? 4.6. So they gave you 4.60, then you add 0.0696. Then you also express it as a percentage. Also express it as a percentage. Sorry. The flotation cost is equal to number 3. Not 3. You are given the figure for the flotation cost. 21.24.79. Yeah. So that is now the cost of the ordinary share. So the next one, we now also compute the cost of the preferred share. The next one, we shall also compute the cost of the preferred share. Cost of the preferred share. So cost of the preferred share is the same as KB. So KB should be given by D divided by PO minus the flotation cost. Then we also express it as a percentage. We also express it as a percentage. So first we compute the dividend per share. So to get the dividend per share, I want you to go to the note number 5. Note 5 is where you are told that 10% preference shares can be issued at par of how much? 80. So dividend, the dividend will be 10% of 80. 10% of 80. So what should be 10% of 80? that to pay 8. But they have said that it was issued at par. You see that note? So that means the par value is also how much? 80. So when you will be computing, the figure will just remain 10% because it had no flotation cost. It is 8 divided by 80. There is no flotation cost. Then you express it as a percentage. So that note number 5, 10% preference shares can be issued at par. So the par value was also given as 80. So selling price is the par value, but the par value is 80. So it will just remain 1%. Yeah, it will just remain 10%. You remember the question we did yesterday? They gave you the bar value and the bar value without giving the figure. And you remember how we sorted it out? Yeah. So the bar value and the bar value, they were able to cancel off. So it remained 13%, then you tax it. But this one, we don't tax the preference dividend. The preference dividend are not taxed. So finally, we go to the debenture. So debentures are 2 of them. We also compute now the cost of the debenture. Debentures are there in the note number 4. 9% redeemable debentures. The bar value is 1,000 shillings each. Will be sold with a net proceed of 95% due to the discount on issue of the 2% and a flotation cost of 30 per debenture. So then maximum amount available, then you can see that after which debt could only be obtained at what percent? 12%. So debts at debentures are 2. The one for the 9% and the one for the 12%. Because the 9% was 4 million. But if you require anything above 4 million, you use the 12% interest. So the debentures are 2 of them. Debentures are meant to be 2 of them. The debentures are meant to be 2 of them. So we go to number 4, where we also compute cost of the debentures. So we shall have a short break for those who are good for the prayers. Then when you come back, now we proceed from there.
What do you expect? Respect. You know what was beyond. Just studying the duties. They give.
Niliweka tu hapo, ambia hapa niliweka hapo juu ya meza. Huko ndani, huko ndani.
So we are now to discuss the cost of the debenture. So debenture, I said they were classified into two. So one of them is the 9% debenture. 9% irredeemable debenture. So when the debenture is irredeemable, you remember KD is supposed to be given by interest 1 minus the corporate tax. Current value for the debenture, we minus the flotation cost. Then we express it as a percentage. So what we do, we identify the interest. We identify first the amount for the interest. We need to compute first the interest. So the amount for the interest, it is 9%. The bar value you can see in brackets, it is 1. So 9% of 1,000. 9% of 1,000. So that one should give us which way? That's a figure of 90. Then, when you want to compute the current value for the debenture minus the flotation cost, you want now to compute this part to see what you should come up with. So, if you continue that region, they say that you are able to be sold the net proceed of 95% due to a discount of 40%. 2%, and also a flotation cost of 30. So what you do, you just take the bar value, which was 1,000. So I subtract the discount. If it was a premium, I would have added the premium. but it was issued at a discount is a reduction in the price. So that 1,000 was reduced by that amount for the discount. They have said that discount is what percent? So it will be 2% of the bar value. 2% of the bar value, which is 1,000. Then you also now subtract the flotation cost. Flotation cost they have given us which here. They have given us that. Yeah. So we subtract the discount on the bar value to get the current value. So to get this current value, yeah, because it was issued at a discount. You take the bar value, subtract the discount to get the current market value at which it is being issued. But if it was a premium, you add that premium. But this one was at a discount. So which is supposed to give you which value? 950. But you could have done it this other way. They had said it was issued at a net proceed of 95. So to get that 95%, so you see this one is 2%. Yeah. Then you multiply that divide by 1,000. Express it as a percentage to be 3%. So here in 2%, here in 3%. When you add them together, they come to 5%. That's why they say it is net proceed of 95%. So we have removed the 5, they have subtracted the 5%. So alternatively, it is the same as 95% of the 1,000, like that. 5% of the 1,000, which is the same figure you have there as 950. So now we can compute our KD. So interest, it is 90, then 1 minus 0.3. We divide by the current value minus the flotation cost, which is 950, and express that figure as a percentage. Express that value as a percentage. So the other one is the one of the 12%. We also compute the 12% debenture. 12% debenture. Now also calculate the one for the 12%. Also compute the one for the 12% debenture. So it is still irredeemable. And it is there in the note number 4, where they said after 4 million, they said that maximum amount available from the issue of the 9% redeemable debenture will be 4 million. After which debt could be obtained at 20%, 12% interest. So the interest rate is now 12%. So interest will be 12% of the bar value. Interest will be 12% of the bar value, which is the same as how much? It will be 120. Then this other one, it was issued at a net proceed of what percent? 90%. So we do it the way we have done that part. So you just get 90% of 1,000. It's 900. So KD is now going to be 120, 1 minus 0.3, and also divide by 950. This one is 9. $9.33. So once we have done that, let us now compute the WMCC. We can now compute the WMCC. So to compute the WMCC, we do such a summary, the one we had yesterday. So I will start off with the equity. You remember the breakpoint for the retained earnings? We got how much? The breakpoint for the retained earnings, we got it here. 20 million. Yeah, so your breakpoint is what, 20 million. Then remind me KR. KR was which percent? Sorry? 21.58. How about KP? 24.79. So we also did something on the preference shares. So preference shares are in a breakpoint, but we computed KP. The preference share had no breakpoint, but we calculated KP. That KP was which figure? So the next one is the debentures. Next one is next to be the debentures. So for the debentures, we calculated the breakpoint for the debenture when we started. It was 16 million. Yeah, so it was meant to be 16 million. Then remind me the first KD, the cost of the 9% redeemable debenture, we got which percent? 6.6. Then the second KD was 9.33. So after that, there is a summary also in relation to that. So that summary, we start off from 0 to the lowest breakpoints. There are only 2. The lowest is how much? 16 million. So from 0 to 16 million, the second one should be above 16 million to 20 million. Then the last one should now be above 20 million to the next highest, which is the total cost of all those projects. You can see project A, B, C, and D. Their total cost will be how much? It acquires 30 million. Yeah, so the 30 million, remember, it is the total cost of all the projects. There was project A, B, C, and D. So when you add, A is meant to be 8 millions, B is meant to be 7, then 9 plus 6. That is what is giving us 13 million, isn't it? Yeah, so that information, it is only necessary for you now to calculate the WMCC. So let us see how to get the WMCC. Let us now see how to get the WMCC. So weight of equity, cost of equity. Weight of the preference share, cost of the preference share. Weight of the debenture, the cost of the debenture must always be after the tax. The cost of the debenture must always be after So we start off with the first one, which is from 0 to 16 million, which is meant to be the one from 0 to 16 million. So our WMCC. So weight for equity, you can see the weight for equity in the note number 6. It is 45%. So 45 divided by 100, the same as 0.45. Then KE, now you see this part. Anything to do the 20 million and below, we use the retained earnings. But anything above 20 million, we should be changing to the ordinary shares. So 0 to 16 is below 20 million. So we use the retained earnings, which is what percent? 21.58, like that. The next one, the weight for the preference share. The weight for the preference share is 30%. So 30% is the same as 0.3. So there was no break point for the preference share. It applied to all of them. That figure we got 10%. Then the weight for the debenture. The weight for the debenture is 25%. 25% is the same as 0.25. So anything to do with 16 million and below, we use what? 6.63. Anything above 16, we use 9. So we are still 0 to 16. So we use 6.63. So we multiply 6.63. 6.63. So we had already taxed, so we don't tax it again. So mother is today asking, where are we getting the 16 million from? So are you in class when we started part A? Part A of the question is where we computed the breakpoint. Then, are you able to see what was there in part A? The breakpoints. What did you get for part A? So that is now for that first one. We go to the second one. The second one is above 16 million. So WMCC. So the weight for equity, it is 0.45. So we are still 20 million and below. You see, from 16 to 20, we are still 20 million and below. So we are still using the 21.58. We are still using 21.58. So I said there was no breakpoint for preference share. So it applied. This will be 0 multiplied by 10. Then 0.25. So debentures, now we are above 16 million. You see the debentures? Yeah, 16 million and below, it equals 6.63. But now when you are above 16, we change to 9.33. I hope we see that good. Yeah, so when you are under debentures, 16 million and below, it is 6.63. Then above 16 million, we change to 9.3. So here we are above 16 to 20. So this one, you use 9. Apply 9.33. So under equity, now we are above 20 million. So when you are above 20 million, you change to what? Equity, we now use 24 point. Yeah, so we now apply 24.79. So this other one has not changed. Then anything to do with above 16 million, we had already changed to 9.3. So that was your part B. So that is now our part B. So after part B, we now go to, after part B, we now go to part C. After part B, we now go to part C. So part C, they say advise Mavuno Limited on the projects to undertake, assuming that the projects are what? So you remember the schedule? Yeah, you have the column for the project, then the cost, total cost, then IRR, then the view, then I had advised you that we rank them first. We start with the one with the highest IRR. So among the 4 projects, which one has got the highest IRR? We check among the 4 projects, A, B, C, and D. Which one has the highest IRR? So we start with the project A. So project A, it had a cost of how much? $8 million. Yeah. So cumulative will still remain 8 million. So cumulative will still remain 8 million. So IRR for that is given as what percent? So 8 million is the total cost that we use. So it is between 0 to 16. So from 0 to 16, what was our WMCC? 14.36. 14.37. Yeah, so this one, IRR is greater than WMCC. So that one we accept. So that project A will be accepted. The project A will be accepted. Then we go to the next round according to IRR. Which one is the next round according to the IRR? So D is number 2. So that D, it has 6 millions. So cumulative will be lost. The 14. So your IRR is 22. The IRR is 22. So 14 million is still from 0 to 16. Yeah. So we still use 14.7. So So that one you still accept because IRR is greater than WMCC. The next one should be which one? According to the question. The next one should be C. So C has an initial cost of 9 million. So cumulative, it will be 23 million. Then IRR is what percent? 20. So 23 million is above 20 to 30. Yeah, that's not me. Using that 16.4. As you know, that one we still accept. We shall accept that project. We shall be able to accept that particular project. The next one is which project? So B, it is 7 million. So cumulative went to that. So that IRR is 16. That's how we reject. See, we are still using 16.49, but IRR is 16. So the IRR is less than WMCC. So this one we reject. That one we reject. To be rejected. To be rejected. So that is now what we have for that part B of the part C of the question. Roman letter 1, part C. But there's also Roman letter 2 of part C, where they say determine the optimal capital budget. We had agreed that the optimal capital budget is the total cost of accepted projects, whereby you can pay how much? 23 units. So we summarize that optimal capital budget is the total cost of the accepted projects. Optimal capital budget is the total cost of the accepted projects. Therefore, it is 23 millions. Therefore, it is 23 million. That means you have added 8 plus 6 plus 9. Therefore, it is 23 million. So A, D, and C. So when you add them together, they will now give you. So the optimal capital budget is the total cost of the accepted projects, i.e. 23 million. So that was how to analyze that particular question. I still want us to check one more question. I still want us to get another question. So most of the time they test you, like now that's it in that paper, that question was carrying 20 full marks. So if they test, chances are it can be 20 full marks. So let me get another question. We try also and see. So this one we go to May 2017. We check May 2017, question number 1, part B. May 2017, question 1, part B. On my side, it is page 55. On my side, it is page 55. On my side, it is page 55. So that page 55, part B, is about Kensel Limited. Kensel Limited has the following capital structure, which it considers optimal under both the present and the forecasted conditions. Sources of capital is given. Long-term is 45%. Long-term debt, sorry, is 45%, but equity is 55. Then when you add them together, they should add up to 100. So this time they're given the percentages. So there are only two components there. There is no preference share. There is debt and equity. There's only debt and equity. So the management of Kensel Limited forecast the after-tax earnings for the forthcoming year at 2.5 million. At 2.5 million. So the company has been paying 60% of its earnings as dividend. And this payment ratio is expected to continue into the foreseeable future. It is expected to continue in the foreseeable future. The company's present loan commitment will allow it to incur additional leverage according to the schedule presented below. So loan amount, you can see from 0 to 500,000, interest rate is 9%. From 500 to 900, it is 11. 900 to and above, it is 13. The company's corporate tax rate is 30%. The current market price of the equity share of the company is how much? 22. Last dividend on equity shares was paid at how much? 2.2 per share, and the expected growth rate is 5%. So new equity shares can be sold at a flotation cost of 10% of the issue price. So Kensel Limited has the following investment opportunities for the coming year. They have given you project A, B, C, D, and E. Cash outlay is given, annual net cash flow, project life, and internal what? Rate of return. So required Roman letter 1, amount in shillings in which the breaks in the marginal cost of capital schedule will do what? Will occur. They simply want you to get the break point. They simply are asking you to calculate the break point. Then Roman letter 2, weighted marginal cost of capital in each of the intervals between the breaks in the MCC schedule. Roman letter 3, internal rate of return for project A and what? Project C. Then finally, using the investment opportunity schedule, advice on which of the projects should be accepted. Advice on which of the projects should be accepted. So that is the schedule. We have already seen how it works. So we go back to Roman letter 1, amount in shilling where the break will occur. So that Roman letter 1, we are simply calculating the break point. And a break point is given by amount to raise, we divide by the weight. So we go to the Roman letter 1, where we should now calculate the break point. So to compute the break point, is supposed to be given by amount to raise. Amount to raise divided by weight. Amount to raise we divide by weight. So for the breakpoint, we start off with the equity. So breakpoint, we start off with equity. So that equity will be the retained earnings. So our breakpoint, we start with the first one as equity, and that equity is the retained earnings. So to compute the amount for the retained earnings, the amount for the retained earnings, they have said that the management of Kensel Limited forecast that after tax earnings for the forthcoming year is how much? 2.5. That is the earnings after tax. But the company has been paying 60% of its earnings as what? So which means they have been retaining what percent? Yeah, so we get 40% of 2.5 million to be our amount for the retained earnings. So we get 40% of 2.5 millions. So they pay dividend at 60%. That means they retain 40%. So what is 40% of 2.5 millions? Okay. Inakuja 1 million. So now we compute the break point for that. We get the break point. The break point for that. So that amount is 1 million. That amount is 1 million. Then we divide by the weight. What is the weight for equity? So 55% is the same as 0.55. So that now will give you the break point for the retained earnings. That now will give you the break point for the retained earnings. The break point for the retained earnings. So when you continue in the same paragraph, they continue to say that the company's present loan commitment will allow it to incur addition. So they have not given us anything to do with ordinary share. So, but they have given you loan commitment, that is the debt. They have given you the loan commitment, which is meant to be the debt. So we go to number 2, which will be now be the debt. Number 2, which is meant to be the one for the debt. Loan commitment debt. So among them, kuna ile ya 9%, 11% and what? 13%. So we start with the one of the 9%. 9% debt. We start with the one for the 9% debt. So the one for the 9% debt, break point will be between 0 to how much? 500. So it's meant to be 0 to 500. So that 500, so you take the 500,000, we divide by the weight. What is that weight for the debt up the long-term debt is what percent? 45%. So 45% is the same as 0.4. 5% is the same as 0.45. So that should be able to give you the 9% debt. That now would be the one for the 9% debt. So there is another one, which is what? On the next one. 11% debt. There is also the one for the 11% debt. So the one for the 11% to get the break point, So when it is the same source of finance, we normally get the cumulative. When they are in the same source of finance, we get cumulative. You see, like now under equity, we have only the retained earnings. If there was another one for the ordinary share, we could have taken the 1 million for the retained earnings plus now the one for the ordinary share before you divide by the weight. So I suspect you get that point. We get cumulative. You see, equity has two components, retained earnings and ordinary share. So if you get a question, which will also give you the one for the ordinary share. If you get a question where they will give you also for the ordinary share, when I'm calculating the breakpoint for the ordinary share, I also include the amount for the retained earnings. I get cumulative. So when now I'm calculating for the 11% that first, it I include your 9%, which is 500. Yeah, we get cumulative. So they are using the same proportion 0.45. So when they are in the same component source of finance and there are more than one breakpoint, the second one you add the first one, but the first one you do it separately. But when you got the second one, you get cumulative. So when you check now the one for the 11% debt, 11% debt, it is from 500 to where? 500 to 900 is how much? 400. Yeah. So that would add your 400, but it's obviously going to be 900. Yeah. Before you divide by 0.45. Yeah. To get that 900, it is cumulative. So you take the 500 off 9%, and now you add the 400 for the 11% debt. For the 11% debt. So that now will be for the 11%. The next one is supposed to be the one for the 13%. 13% debt. 13% debt. So 13% debt, break point for this. I still, so 13% was some money. So you have to complete, they have not specified. So they have just said 900 and above. So you are above for Jaweka, so we don't complete. We only complete where they have specified. So if it will be 900 to some other figure, so we take that some other figure plus the 400 plus the 500. So that is how it should be. So that is our Roman letter 1. That's now our Roman letter 1. So we go to the Roman letter 2. Roman letter 2, they wanted you to calculate the weighted marginal cost of capital. So remember, you start by getting the cost for the retained earnings, the cost for the ordinary share. This question had no preference shares, but it had loan commitment. That loan commitment, 9%, 11%, and 13%. Then, when you go to the next paragraph, they are saying that the company's corporate tax rate is what percent? 30%. Current market price of the equity company share is how much? 22. The last dividend on equity shares was paid at how much? 2.2 per share, and expected growth rate is 5%. So new equity shares can be sold at a flotation cost of 10% of the issue price. So Kensel Limited has the following investment opportunities for the coming year. They have given you project A, B, C, D, and E, cash outlay, annual net cash flow, project life, and also IRR. So we start by calculating the cost of the retained earnings. We start by computing. So this time growth rate was given. May you want your growth rate? Under equity. So when you check under equity, they have said that the current market price of the equity shares of the company is 22. The last dividend on the equity shares was paid at 2.2 per share, and the expected growth rate is what percent? 5%. So this time they have given you the growth rate. The other two questions we calculated using compounding method. So Let us first compute the cost of. Let us first calculate the cost of the retained earnings. The cost for the retained earnings. So cost of the retained earnings is the same as KR. So KR is given by DO 1 plus G. We divide by PO, then we add G by that. So to get KR is given by DO in the brackets of 1 plus G, we divide by PO, then we should be able to add G. So we said that DO is the last dividend per share that was paid. Amesema ni 2.2. Are you able to see that 2.2? So 2.2, then 1 plus G. G is the constant growth rate, which was given as 5%. So that 5% is the same as 0.05. Like that. Then we divide by PO. PO, the current market price of the equity share of the company is 32. So we also add 0.05. Then express it as a percentage. Then express it as a percentage. So that will be now the cost for the retained earnings. There is also number 2, cost of the ordinary shares. The next one should be cost of the ordinary shares. So cost for the ordinary share is the same as KE. So KE should be given by DO 1 plus G divided by PO minus the flotation cost. And G. So the same details, which is meant to be 2.2, 1 plus 0.05. We still divide by 22. We subtract the flotation cost. Which percent? 10% of the issue price. So issue price is 22. So it is 10% of the 22. 10% of the 22. Add 16.67. So the next one, number 3. Number 3 is now the debt. Number 3 is the debt. So the one for the debt, what do we do to get our KD? To get our KD, because we have not been given the bar value and the current market price. Then remember, it is a loan. So it is a loan. So what we do for that, you just take that interest rate, then you tax. You just take the interest rate, then you tax. So we have 2 or 3 of them. The first one is 9%. So we take the one for the 9%, then 1 minus 0.3. Then also the second one, the second KD is 11%. So you also take the 11%, then we do what? We tax. The last one is 13%. So you simply take that 13%, then we tax like that. So that should be able to give you the cost for the debt. Because it was a bank loan, and being a loan, we just tax the interest, because interest rate is the cost, but interest is a tax allowable expense. So we need to have it taxed. So once we have done that, we should now be in a position now to see how to compute the WMCC. Now be in a position to see how to compute the WMCC. So to come up with the WMCC, to come up with the WMCC, so to come up with WMCC. So WMCC. So we do that summary that we had. Equity, there is equity. So under equity, we calculated the breakpoint for the retained earnings. Now look at the breakpoint for the retained earnings. That is where we start from. How much was that breakpoint for the retained earnings? We got 1 million. So we can have it into 2 decimal places. Because we just want a range. From 0 to this, from this to that. Remember that? Yeah, so it has no effect when you are calculating. It only gives us the range. Remember the summary I was putting down here. 0 to 16, 16 to 20, 20 to 30. But it does not appear in the calculations. We are only getting the range. So you just round it off to 2 decimal places. So it is 1.81. Like that. So 1.82. Like that. Then what was KR? What was KR? 15.5. What is KE? 16.67. So that was now for equity. Then the debt. We had 2 breakpoints. The debt, yeah. So the first one is what which way? Sorry? 1.1. The second breakpoint, it is there in part Roman letter 1 of the question. Sorry? This one was 1.11. This one was 2 million. Then we have calculated 3 KDs. The first KD was 6.3. The second KD 7.7. The last KD 9.1. So now there were only 2 sources of finance. Remember equity and debt. There were no preference share. So those figures we had already computed them. So that now in our summary, the first one normally starts from 0 to the lowest. The first one must be from 0 to the lowest. So there are 3 of them. So now 1.8 to 1.11, and to the lowest is 1.11, isn't it? Yeah, so the first one will be from 0 to 1.11. Then the second one should be above 1.112. the next highest. The next highest is 1 point. Yeah, we follow the order, the lowest to the highest. So that next one is 1.82. The third one should be above 1.82 million. The next highest now, which is how much? 2 million. But now the fourth one should be above 2 million. Then add the total. Above 2 million, then get the total of all the projects. Known as a project A, B, C, D, and E. So when you add 675 plus 900 plus 375 plus 562 500 plus 750,000. Seven. So that is now what we have. That is now what we have as a. So from there, we want to compute the WMCs. Weight of equity, cost of equity, weight of the debt. So KD must always be after the tax. KD must always be after. But we had already taxed. There is no preference shares this time. No preference shares. Yeah, so there's only equity and debt. There is only equity and debt. So this time there are 4. So the first one is from 0 to 1.11. So to get our WM6. So weight for equity, unajua ni 55. Weight for equity is 0.55. So KE, nataka muangalia hapa. So anything to do with 1.82 million and below, tunatumia retained earnings. Anything above 1.82 tunatumia 16.67. So here we are 1.82 and below. So we are from 0 to 1.1. So we are used the 15.5. Yeah. So we are below 1.82. So under equity, anything below 1.82, we use 15.5. And now we add. So the weight for the debt, is 0.55. So the debt, 1.1 million and below, we use the 6 point. Wait. Oh, even 4.5. But we use which one? We use 6 point. Because this one, anything to do with 1.1 million and below, we use 6 point. So the next one, number 2. Number 2 should be above 1.11 to 1.82. Tumetax already. Nakumbuka vile tulikuwa tuna calculate hapo. Yeah. So the formula is that it must be taxed. But we had already taxed. Nakumbuka ilikuwa 11. Was it 9 then 1 minus 0.3? Yeah, so we had already taxed them. The next one is now for this one. So we are still 1.82 and below. So it is 15.5. Then 0.45. So we are above 1.11, but still below 2 million. You see that? So that case we use the 7.7. That one is 7.7. That one apply 7.7. Someone was asking, what about the ordinary share? What is there about the ordinary share? What is the question on the ordinary share? What is the question about the ordinary share? We have not reached the point where we include the ordinary share. For the last two questions, I was giving the range. I've said that 1.82 and below your retained earnings. When we shall be above 1.82, you're trying up to me an ordinary share. And we have been doing that for the other two questions. We have done two more. Yeah, I have been separating them. Yeah. Ordinary share, it will get its share when you are above 1.82. If you can go through the other two questions we have done, I've shown retained earnings and ordinary share are the same source of finance. They are using which percent? 55. Yeah, so because they use the same source of finance, they cannot be combined together. We use one at a time. So like for this question, 1.82 and below, you and your retained earnings. If in any case you will be above 1.82, that is when we shall use the ordinary shares. So we are still using that retained earnings. Now we go to number 3. Number 3 now is above 1.82 million. For how much? Sasa size utatumia the ordinary shares. So now for this one, we will be using the ordinary share because we are above 1.82. So WM60 will be 0.55 multiplied by. So we use now 16.67 because we are above 1.82. And the moment you are above 1.82, we now use the ordinary shares. Then this other one is 0.45. So anything to do with 1.1 up to 2 million. Bado tunatumia 7.7. So you remember this one is 1.82 to 2 million. So this one we use the 7.7. We apply 7.7 like that. Then the fourth one should be above 2 million to 3.26. So we are still 16. Then 0.45. So anything above 2 million, now tunabadilisha to what? So this is now 9.1. So that should be your Roman letter 2, weighted marginal cost of capital in each of the intervals between. So now Roman letter 2 is done. We go to the Roman letter 3. So Roman letter 3, they would like you to calculate the IRR for project A and project C. So kuna zingine tumepewa IRR because before you do the rank, before you do the selection of the project, I said you rank them according to IRR, but some of them they don't have the IRR. That's why they are asking, we compute IRR for project A and also for project C. So maybe I will show you how they got the one for project B. B tumepewa which percent? 15. So let me confirm how they got the 15. How they got the 15. So to get the one for the 15, so this one is for project B. This one is for project B. So it is that present value interest factor for the annuity. So present value interest factor for the annuity at R%, because R is what we are looking for. But that project B has an economic life of how many years? Yeah, so for 5 years. So what do? You take the present value for the cash outflow, divide by the annuity. So hii figure ndio tunakuanga nazo kwa table. You see the present value tables. Kuna ile ya annuity na kuna ile ya simple. So this one we use the one for the annuity. If you check in your past papers, kuna hizo annuity. But before then, let me just explain. So this one is the present value interest factor of the annuity. So at R% is now our IRR for 5 years. So that figure is supposed to be calculated by, you take the initial cost, divide by annuity. Annuity is the annual cash inflow. It is the same year, every year. So you can see the cost for that project B. They gave you how much? They gave us 900 like that. You can see the 900. Then annuity is the annual cash inflow. Annual net cash flow is given as 200 and what? It's 268, 484. Yeah. So this figure, I want you to divide, then you pay rounded off to 4 decimal places. Nataka round off to 4 decimal places. Sorry? 3.35. Like that. Sasa kwa zile table zenu, in your past paper there are present value tables. The annuity, you see the annuity table? The annuity table is the cumulative. Annuity table is cumulative. So are you able to see period 5? On period 5. Zeros may increase, 0 point something is measured to 1 point something. This is measured to your annuity table. Tunaona hiyo annuity table. But the one that has, kuna ile imeenda mpaka 3.33. Huko mwisho, umeona huko mwisho ya 30%, 3.333 like that. Yeah, hiyo. Lakini hiyo ingine inakuanga inafika 0.999 the maximum. Kiwa na 0 point something maximum, hiyo ni single period. But for the annuity, the zeros zinaenda above 1. Anything that is above 1, that is annuity table. So, umeona period 5. So kwa hiyo period 5, nataka move across along period 5. Move across mpaka nipate hii figure. Move across umepata hii figure. Then angalia huko juu, it falls under what percent? Yes, that's how to get the IRR. That's how you are able to get the IRR. What do you do? Simply take the initial cost. Leave alone the formulas. Mona, chukua your initial cost, then you divide by the annual cash inflow. Then the answer you get, round it off to 4 decimal place. Then in that 4 decimal place, so when we compare the year, go to the period of that, like now this one is year 5. Move across until you get the figure that you have calculated. Then you confirm up, it falls under what percent. Then you confirm up, it falls under what percent. So online, are we together? Online, are we together up to that point? Yeah, I hope everyone is comfortable. Everyone should now be comfortable for that. So that is now how they got the one for B. So if you want to calculate for the one for A, you see the one for A. Simply take 675,000 divided by 555,401. Your answer in Unapata will round off to 4 decimal places. The answer you get, round it off to 4 decimal places, then go to period 8. You go to period 8, move across. Then it is under what percent? Now, your assignment because now it is already 8. I may not be able to finish the last part, but just finish the way I've done. When we meet now, we shall conclude on the question because now the time is up. We can stop there for now. When we meet now, we shall conclude it. See, everyone has understood that part.